pretty sad batting lineup there, huh?
Yeah, look at the contributions, 36, 24, 20, 26, 25, 3, 23, 22, 22. I mean, they've made a contribution, and if it comes on the back of a fantastic start, then maybe you post 177, which is probably the number that is.
No way.
But I think
Even that caught me off guard.
But I think the problem is going to be that middle order for them. And we're talking about who's looking like he could become the saviour is Livingston. But what? Like on the back of 3 months of no cricket or even longer, I mean, they're missing Bairstow. I think that's huge, him pulling out before the RPL. But they rely on Shikhar Dhawan, and he didn't produce today. And that kind of score, looking at the batting lineup of Gujarat, I'm not feeling it for Punjab. So they'll be not having a party at the end of the day's play, I don't think.
What was it we're talking about before the start of the game, about strike rates and all the rest, right? And the necessity for balance. And I spoke about how last season it was a case of, gotta go out there, go at it, smash it. We've got an aggressive lineup. When you think of the likes of Livingston and I suppose Bairstow, Rajapaksa, all those guys like to be aggressive. Throw in a Nicholas Pooran, and so the thought process is attack, 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 and smash it to all parts. But there still has to be a sort of control in the way that you go about it. If there isn't, then it's going to be difficult. And looking at this lineup now, there is a necessity for somebody to kind of be guiding what goes on. And if they don't have Shikhar Dhawan doing it, then nobody else seems to be able to kind of do what's necessary. In the games he's scored runs, they've been able to get to some sort of a total that with a bowling lineup that they do have, they do not have to be gung-ho per se. If the conditions allow, yes, but still I think there needs to be method and control to how you do it. And there must be a bare minimum they kind of need to try and get to allow their bowlers to then operate. And I don't know, 177.
But no one really settled in at any point. I think if at all, there was Short who was trying to, anchor things a little bit, but he had no partners at all because every wickets kept falling at every interval. We just saw that graphic, if you all can pull that out for us again. So it was just constant intervals of wickets falling, and at no point did we feel that, okay, there's a partnership growing.
Yeah, the one time, if you have a look where Short gets out, 6.4, Rashid Khan comes on and does the job. But the period where they looked like they were playing with a bit of freedom was overs 4, 5 and 6. And that's often the easiest time to bat because mostly you've set yourself, the ball's a little bit older, it's still in the power play, the fielders are up, and that's where you can. But once they got past that power play overs, there was no one who was destructive enough. And anyone who walked to the crease wasn't even knocking the singles around, wasn't even striking at a 100% strike rate. So you do get the feeling that in their camp at the moment, they're kind of looking around thinking who's going to play, who isn't going to play, who's coming in, what changes are going to be made. And that doesn't give an air of confidence. I mean, the highest partnership was, 37?
37,
I think it was, yeah. So there's not an element of confidence there. And there's one thing talking about a positive game plan, as Pommie said, and that's what the talk in the media is all about. But you have to have the guys first feeling comfortable about their positions and then striding to the crease and being comfortable about what they're trying to do. And you get that feeling that for them, they're kind of looking around thinking who's going to be the player rather than knowing who's going to be the player.
And I also think when you try and ensure that you make up your squad really well, a key ingredient is to have 2 or 3, the more of them you can have, are batters who have had great success in the IPL, particularly the IPL, not potentials and those who've had success in other places, because it's a different place, it's a different tournament. And just generally, and this is no diss on all the other tournaments, but just generally, it's more difficult, right? So the standard's that bit higher, and you're not going to be allowed to get away with anything. So if there are holes in your side, your opposition are going to punch through them. And that's kind of how it goes. And so when you look at that lineup and you go, okay, Shikhar Dhawan, been doing it for years, and that's who's going to do it. You're asking yourself, who else? How many IPLs have these guys played? And so do they understand the pressure? Are they sure of themselves, or are they, in the words of Shaun here, still trying to kind of figure it out, number one for tournament, but number two for the team as well, which in the course of history is a team that chops and changes quite a lot. So I think that makes things difficult, and when you don't start well, then it's difficult to catch up and get back at it.